What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. A little Saturday special. No work today, so kind of nice. Got some things done. Got to get more things done, and just got back from the thrift. I actually don't know how many items I got. I should have counted beforehand. I'm gonna say 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Even better, 15 items. So it was packed. Excuse me, packed in the Goodwill. Like I said, it's Saturday, so you can kind of expect that. Couple things. Number one, we're looking at the traffic, and this is something that I mentioned when we first started this experiment. So we started it here, and our traffic was going up a little bit, right? We went from 50s into the 60s, and then here's where we started it. So, um, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. So we had a week, and it hit its peak. Um, That was on a Sunday. So now, right, you start to go back down. Yesterday we did terrible, didn't sell anything. We were under 100,000 for the first time in about a week. Today we sold one, well, two. I'm waiting for someone to pay. And let's see, we sold one. We're at 47,000. So we'll probably be close to 100,000 impressions again. So I'm thinking somewhere around 100,000 is going to be our new benchmark. Slowly it'll go up as you add more items, right? If everything's going well. So yeah, I was wondering where we'd end up with eBay. So if you look at the height, 3, we sold 2, 2, 3, 2, nothing yesterday, and like I said, 1 today. So, we'll probably end up in the 3 per day sold. Um, I have to, like, I'm trying to change my mentality on not being so particular about getting every dime. I've kind of been good about that, but I need to be better about that and just get rid of these items, get them moving. Because we saw before what happened with my other store. That's why we have all those items. One, they're not the best item. Two, they're slower selling. So I like 6 months or less. I would like to be around 3 months every quarter, turn your items over. That would be really nice. We're not there yet. I am working to get more suppliers, which I've contacted. There's about 5 possibilities. We'll see how things go. Um, and that will help with getting stuff in here. The more I buy with some of them, the better price I would get. So again, if you can buy a truckload of something, you're going to get it at a way better deal than if you buy 20, no matter what it is. Wash machines, clothing, cameras, water bottles, TVs, computers, right? It doesn't matter. Buying in bulk, you always get a better deal. I'm sure everyone here understands that principle. But that's how our experiment's going. Number two, I got asked a question. I replied, but I also told them I would do a video on it. So I'm not going to show one of my listings, excuse me, because I don't want to reveal my store. And so I have my answer right here. I want to make sure I go through everything. Okay, so we have an incognito tab. And I picked this listing because I think this is absolutely absurd that these shoes are $544. I mean, here's a pair for $900, $475. I think that is, I would never pay that much for a pair of shoes. If you want to, that's on you. I'm going to tell you something about these shoes. They're probably made out of the same material as a pair of $60 Nikes, right? Just because it's Kobe Bryant. Hey, good job. I don't freaking care. I think it's stupid, but that's just me. Anyways, um, so what you would do, okay? So you want to know what's my sell-through rate? Okay, the question was, so basically time. How long is it taking for my item to sell? So you go to a sold listing under your orders, sold or awaiting shipment. You click on the order number, right? It pulls up the page. You click on the title of your listing and it'll bring you to this page. And on the top left, it'll say sold. Over here, it will tell you when the date was that it sold. So if this was my listing, it said sold, or I'm sorry, well, it will tell you the date it was sold, but it'll also tell you the start date. So if my start date was October 25th, 2024, and it sold today, took a 1 day to sell, right? So you know how to calculate that out. So you can calculate the time out, and you can do that with one listing, 5, 20, 100, 1,000. The more listings you do it with, the better idea you will have what your actual sell-through rate of your items is in your store. I did it, excuse me again, I did it on, I don't know, 50, 60 listings one time, and it was really interesting to see. The second way you can do it is you can look at the app. So if the app says, I have 750 active, I have 250 sold, you divide 250 divided by 750, it gets you 33, it would get you 0.33 forever threes. So that's 33%. So you have a 33% sell-through rate every 90 days. That's important. How many 90 days? How many months are in 90 days? 3. So 3 goes into 33, 11. So that means every month, 11% of your store sells. Does that make sense? 11% of your store sells. So if you have a 100-item store, you sell 11 items. If you have a 1,000-item store, you sell 110 items per month. Okay? Some people that could be good, some people that could be bad, depends on what you're selling, all profit margin, all that stuff. And then I just want to make sure I got everything. Oops, I just hit the wrong button. Sorry. Blah, blah, blah. I'm reading my own comment. Okay, so the final way, this is probably the least accurate way. And so we can use mine right now, which I did in the example. Okay, so I'm listing 10 a day. I'm selling 2.8 a day, right? That's since this test started. So I'm selling 28%. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm selling 28% of my listed items. So depending on which one you use, you're going to get different numbers. The important thing to understand is the more data you use, the more exact your number will be. The first example I gave is the best. It's going to give you the most data and the most accurate data. Number 2 is a bit of a broad overall range for the last 90 days. Nothing wrong with that. That's also good to know. The third is probably the least. What the third one can tell you, if you kept track of it over time, say you listed 10 and sold 1 per day. And then the next month you listed 10 and sold 1.1. And then as you do that over time, you can see, am I selling more? Am I listing better items? Are we getting into Q4 or time where my stuff sells, or, all those different things? It can tell you the state of your store. There's several different factors to look at. You can track quite a few different things to give you an idea of where your store is at and where it's going. Like, you can go past 30 days. This is the past week. Doesn't look as dramatic on the downturn, but it's the same numbers, right? So you can see eBay's just stupid. I don't know how else to say this. If you pay attention, you will see many things like I'm about to say throughout eBay in their app and on their online, the desktop. It says the past 7 days. How many bar graphs do you see at the bottom? You see 8. I don't understand. That's not 7 days, right? And might be nitpicky or whatever, but I'm just saying there's these little things that they screw up on, and you're going, what are you screwing up in on the back end, right? I don't know. It's just me. That's just the way I look at things. Anyways, so there's a lot of different ways you can come up with your numbers, a lot of different things you can track. But the important thing is you know your numbers and you understand my store is here. My store started here at, say, the beginning of the year, and now it's here, or it's here, it's declined. I've had one bad month or whatever. The biggest thing is, like yesterday, I had no sales. I've seen this before, even in my other store when it was big, right? And doing okay. I've seen days where, things will be going good and then you'll have a day with really low sales, or 2 days or three, and then it'll kind of pick back up again. It just happens. So it's important to say, I'm not going to look at this small time period. I'm going to look at it more over. The more data you have, the better. Um, this store next year at this time will be even better because I can compare year over year, right? Which is important rather than just month over month, because a month of November is going to be different than the month of December, right? Depending on what you're selling, I should say. Because Q4 for some items, it doesn't matter, right? But, and then you look at, okay, if I only sell coats, comparing November to August, right? It's going to be different because not many people buy coats in November. I mean, in August. So you just kind of know what you're comparing, all things considered equal, and then track. I have a bunch of numbers that I personally track on a spreadsheet. Maybe what is it, like 8 to 10 things? I'll say I track on a spreadsheet every month for both stores. Excuse me, and it gives me the idea of, okay, where's my store going, and then I can say, okay, I went up or down. What caused that? Was it just economy, market, whatever, or was it, did I make a change? And this store, second store, I've made very few changes. Okay, I did the experiment that we're doing right now of listing more per day, and then the other thing was I just updated my shipping, so I changed the way I do shipping. What's I don't know. Oh, excuse me. Is it going to be better or worse? I only yawn when I talk. If I chew gum, I don't yawn. I forgot to grab a piece of gum. Why that happens, I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but that's why I yawn, because I'm talking so much. So yeah, you can look at, like so I've made two changes. I made the shipping and listing more per day. So now I can see, okay, when I look at my chart, which coming up here in 5-6 days, we'll go into November. Then, right, I'll add the month of October onto my spreadsheet. I mean, not chart, my spreadsheet, and then I can see, okay, we went up, but I also track my listings per day, so I know, okay, well, I listed 10. So in a year, I can look back at that spreadsheet and say, okay, we had a bump in sales. Oh, we went to 10 per day, and we changed our shipping. That's why. Also, vice versa. Like when I moved, I wrote it down. When I moved here, I saw my sales go down. I moved several hundred miles. It was a very big move. So my store was closed for almost 2 weeks. I just had so much to do. Not closed, it was on vacation mode. So that was literally, I think, half the month it was on vacation mode. So my store took a hit. If you just looked at my spreadsheet, you wouldn't know that, but I did put on there we moved. So now I'm like, okay, that's why that month was down, because we moved. So again, tracking is very important. Pick what you want to track. You don't have to track everything, just some things you feel are important. Uh, and if you want to know more in depth, if I didn't explain it properly on calculating the time and calculating like sell-through rates, um, I don't, just leave me a comment with a question, and I'll be happy to answer it, go over it, whatever. Again, but it's definitely important to know, and it's definitely like that is one thing I track. It's important to track it because you've got to think. So if I have this item right here, right, my labels, and that item takes 6 months to sell, and I list it today, that means into April it's going to sell. So I have to know that, right? So I have to know, okay, this cost me $1, I can sell it for 7. I have to know how long is it going to take me to get my money back. It's going to take me 6 months. So if everything I list takes 6 months, and this isn't perfect science, so we're just using averages. Yes, some things, even though they take 6 months to sell, usually are going to sell in a day or going to take 2 years to sell. It's not a perfect science. But we'll just say just for instance, okay, 6 months. So that means I have to know if I'm listing 6 months sell through rate items, I have to say I can fund my business for 6 months. I have to have the capital to do that. So whether that means it's going to cost me $1 a day, 10, 100 a day, whatever that cost is, I got to make sure that I can cover that cost for that full time, because I'm probably not going to get, I mean, I may get sales here and there, but it's going to take a while. That's why it takes so long to build up a store and get some sales going and some traction. So I have 800 and let's just say 50 items, and this store has been 9 months now. So let's think back. How many were we listing? We were listing like, I think when we first started out, we did like put 100 in the store, and we're doing like 2 or 3 a day or something like that. I'd have to go back and look at my spreadsheet. So you think about that. So those items, and the reason it's important to know how many you listed per day is because if you're working off of that 6 months, if you were listing 2 a day, you should expect 2 sales a day then. And like right now, we're listing 10 today, 10 a day. So in April, my sales should be about 10 a day if my sell through rate is 6 months. So you kind of see where I'm going with this. I could talk about it forever, but I think you guys get my point. If not, again, just let me know. Um, but yeah, that's all I got for you today. If you have any questions, I'm here to help. Appreciate everyone hanging out, and see you next time. Take care.